What's up, gamers? Aaron Shack here, and we're looking at Gotham Knights, the Nightwing and Red Hood gameplay demo that's just come out today, May 10th, 2022. Let's do a little bit of an analysis here. The trailer we'll pause, we'll take a look at stuff, and we'll analyze the footage here, and I'll give you some commentary, some facts and opinions and such. But let's see what we have here. Okay, so this is the Nightwing and Red Hood gameplay. I'm just going to make sure it's locked on 1080.
Hi, I'm Jeff Eleanor, game director at Warner Brothers Games Montreal, and today I'm really excited to share with you gameplay footage featuring Nightwing and Red Hood from our upcoming game, Gotham Knights.
So it does say in-game work in progress, which the game is 5 months out. Like, it's coming out in October, allegedly, so.
Hurry it up, will ya?
Okay, actually, there is, it looks like that's a Big Belly burger right there. So a fun little nod to a franchise that shows up in a lot of DC universe stuff, from Batman to even showing up in Starling City in the Arrow TV show, all that kind of stuff. Just a fun little nod there. Okay, so here, you're going to see this in a second, but one of the weaknesses I see with some of the footage that they've shown is that these enemies are really far apart. And so I just want to showcase right here. That way you can get an idea. There's about to be a fight on this rooftop with Nightwing, and the enemies are just really far apart, and it just doesn't make sense. They never really try to close in.
We're joining Nightwing, also known as Dick Grayson, midway through the game story as he patrols our city.
Also, we can look at right here in the bottom right corner, we're sort of seeing hotbar here of like different gadgets and attacks and such. And then we're also seeing who our co-op partner is up here in the top right. And then the bottom left, we're seeing like you can call for the bike. Maybe you have some sort of healing emotes or ways to chat with people, an action type button, whatever it may be. So it's a minimized HUD.
Ways of getting around the city. For Nightwing, it's his glider, the flying trapeze.
So the glider's actually kind of cool.
Engaged in a hacking crime, so it's time to bring some vigilante justice to the bad people.
He grapples in, kicks him.
Gotham Knights plays like a mini game mode.
Now we should note that right here, Dick Grayson actually kind of does what Batman does. If the enemies are really far apart and you're pressing the attack button, he just kind of automatically vaults towards them, which is great, but it seems like most of this fight was just ping-ponging between two guys, and it looks kind of ridiculous. But it's not unusual for the Arkham games.
Each crime in Gotham Knights plays like a mini game mode with rules and optional objectives.
I actually really enjoyed this slide right here. If we just go back.
Each crime
right here.
Gotham Knights plays like a mini game mode.
So he goes, boom, hits that guy. He takes a few steps and then slides in. I actually think that's really cool. The spin is unnecessary. Well, I guess the spin actually makes sense because you're building up momentum for that strike. So the spin is actually giving that baton some momentum, so when it actually does connect and hit the guy.
Objectives. Nightwing's fight.
And we're also seeing that there's a lot of acrobatic dodges and stuff, and we're going to see that with the other characters in the game as well. But obviously they're really trying to showcase the fact that you can just mash dodge
fighting style is acrobatic.
to dodge bullets and stuff. But see, what I don't like that they're showing off right here is like we're seeing the fist sort of light up here with this circle indicating that, hey, maybe it's time for you to counterattack, which was very common in the Arkham games. You would see little lightning bolts on their head, and you would press Y or triangle to counterattack. Yet this demo, it seems like whoever is playing as the character is not actually utilizing the feature that actually defines the franchise the most.
While you can play the whole game solo, you can also protect Gotham.
So that actually kind of looks like a counter, but I'm having a hard time distinguishing that from a takedown.
While you can play the whole game
So he hit, and then he grabbed him,
solo, you can also protect
then breaks his
Gotham
arm,
co-op with a friend.
throws him. And then now we also have like aimable gadgets. So with Nightwing, you know, he's going to shoot like a little stun thing. With Red Hood, you're actually just going to be able to straight up aim his guns like this.
Here's Red Hood. Red Hood gained new abilities after being resurrected by an assassin cult. Here, he uses Mystical Leap to move across the rooftop, springboarded by his own soul energy.
Okay, so it's kind of a weird thing from the comics, like some sort of reference that, you know, maybe he's been in the Lazarus pit, you know, there's sort of a Ra's al Ghul type thing going on. I hope that they would reference this more in the story and not just be like, oh yeah, he has that because that one time he died. Like, it would be cool if there was some sort of flashback sequence or a cutscene or something that sort of addresses why he has those abilities, because it's really suspending our belief pretty far. This is a weird traversal thing. Obviously, he still has the bike, and they're going to showcase it later, and he also has a grappling hook, but it's just weird that they were using the Mystical Leap as like kind of the primary way to navigate.
Mystical Leap to move across the rooftop, springboarded by his own soul energy.
That's actually a really good landing, and that's kind of similar to how Batman would like glide in and you could press a button to glide kick enemies. And basically with this, you know, he just falls out of the glide, lands on the dude, and curb stomps him.
Successful attacks and dodges build up my momentum bar.
Okay, so on the left here, I believe, is the health bar, and then on the right, I'm believing that this is what they call the momentum bar, which we're going to build up for various types of special attacks. I don't know if that means takedowns, because it doesn't look like we have the combo bar anymore, the combo thing where it would say like ×8, and then you could do a takedown.
Below. And timing my strikes and combos correctly makes it build faster.
So timing strikes and combos correctly builds it faster, kind of like the combo thing did in the Arkham games. And so we're seeing him use his guns in combat as well.
Once the bar is full,
quick firing,
can unleash powerful abilities.
Which that looks like a takedown.
Red Hood's ranged attacks are a little louder. He fires non-lethal rounds that still do a lot of damage.
Okay, so he said he fires non-lethal rounds that still do a lot of damage. Let's listen closely to what he says next, because I think it's a little contradictory.
Here's Red Hood's barrage ability, which deals piercing damage to interrupt armored attacks.
Okay, so he says it does piercing damage to interrupt armored attacks. Well, what you'll notice here is that the bullets go...
Here's Red Hood.
The bullets, or whatever you want to call it, projectiles, are going through... Look, this bullet here goes, and it comes right out the back, right here, goes through the enemy. Now, I don't really know of any non-lethal rounds that cut holes straight through people and then they're fine afterwards, okay? We don't have sleeping darts. We don't have pellets that are capable of that technology. Even if you shot someone with a BB, a metal BB can still penetrate the skin and get lost in there. It doesn't cause as much damage as a bullet or some sort of crazy armor-piercing round. You know, bullets are, you know, pieces of metal that are sharp and hot, and they cut through flesh. And they spiral, and depending on what they're made out of, you know, they can either bounce around your insides and stay in you, or they can cut straight through you and come out the other end, creating a hole in you. Now, when that happens, usually bleed to death if you don't dig out the bullet and, basically plug up the wound, okay, and stop the bleeding. So there's really nothing that exists in the non-lethal world that you can fire that breaks armor, cuts all the way through people, fires all the way through, and doesn't kill them at some point. So we're really bending reality with this one. But I understand the fact that they want to have Red Hood working with the Bat family. I think it would be a more interesting dynamic if he were using real bullets. And, maybe he's just aiming at, not shooting people in the head, maybe. Maybe he's aiming for the knees, the arms, the joints, pressure points, maybe just shooting someone in the chest or something. Or maybe he does go all the way, like full lethal, and maybe it creates a conflict within the Bat family of like, we don't approve of your methods, we're just teaming up with you because we really need your help. It would create a nice tension. But if he's just using his just kidding bullets and his just kidding little Nerf dart guns, it kind of undermines the character, it undermines the lore and the origins, and it just kind of makes him seem like everyone else. Like everyone else is just punching and kicking and doing their choreographed dances. And then here's Red Hood over here, who should be like a certified anti-hero killer, and he's basically, using his just kidding stuff. So not something I approve of, but it's like I see how they're trying to make this work in a video game, and they're trying to say that, okay, well, he's not just a hero that's like willy-nilly just murdering everybody.
Red Hood's barrage ability, which deals piercing damage to interrupt armored attacks.
And also you should note that he put like fucking 15 rounds into that dude, okay? So this guy would not be alive after that many penetrating rounds.
Armored attacks.
And you're also seeing right here, it highlights...
damage to interrupt.
So right after that, you see like 10 bullets going to him.
Attacks.
You also see right here, even though this gameplay demo is sort of using the reduced HUD, as they're about to mention, you do see that there's still items in the environment here that can be utilized in combat. So maybe you can throw someone into that electrical box, or maybe you can grab it and throw it at them. But I really want to know what's happening here. So this guy falls off the rooftop. Now in Marvel's Spider-Man actually has the capability to shoot out some web when they fall, and then it webs them to the building so that these guys don't fall to their death. So I kind of wonder what's going to happen there. Will it do what the older Arkham games did, and maybe a grapple hook comes out and they just hang upside down from the edge of the building?
The UI you're seeing can be customized to your preferences. What's on screen is what I like, but you can set it the way you like.
Okay, so like he said, the UI can be customized to your preferences. Obviously, in some of the earlier alpha footage, we saw a different HUD, and obviously this one is a lot more minimized. The symbols are a lot smaller. Things are kind of stuck in the corners. The cues for dodging and counterattacks and stuff like that are very small and minimal. We're just seeing those white circles whenever people are about to punch our character.
It can be customized to your preferences. What's on screen?
So yeah, you'll see their fists with little circles, and obviously we're going to see Red Hood shooting his guns in different directions at different characters, which means you'll really be able to do some crowd control with those guns. So having Red Hood on your team, especially if you're going loud, it seems, unless there's a silenced pistol option available at any point, or if he has any other projectiles or weapons he can use to sort of be stealthy, then, he could be very useful.
Is what I like, but you can set it the way you like.
So we can see this as well. He's alternating his pistols. At one point, he shoots with one pistol on the left and the other pistol on the right. I don't know how that's being triggered, and whether that's an option, or if the game is sort of using something in-engine to sort of target these two characters simultaneously so that you can manage multiple threats. So obviously there's probably about 6 or 7 dudes on this rooftop, which seems a little light for a 2-player co-op sequence here. It seems like they're really spread apart. Maybe this is just for the demo. Maybe it's only on an easy difficulty so that the developers can just kind of showcase basic combat here, but I think it would have been a little more exciting if they had shown more enemies being more aggressive, doing more counterattacks, really showing off the freeform fighting style that the Arkham games were known for. Now we're going to see a little co-op attack here, and you'll also see this red circle. From what I've been able to discover here, this means like an uncounterable attack, which was kind of the same thing you would have in the Arkham games. You'd see the red lightning bolts over someone's head, and that would let you know, okay, this attack you're going to have to like dodge or do something else, try to throw a gadget or something. Like, you're not just going to be able to press Y or triangle and counterattack it. So it's a heavy attack, which, yeah, that's slam. So basically what Nightwing had to do was dodge out of it. And we can kind of see that right here, where Nightwing comes in, kicks him. We're seeing that red symbol. Red Hood's kicking him from behind. Nightwing does a backwards jump. So, I mean, it looks like we're going to have some really solid, like, acrobatic dodge mechanics, but I'm still worried about where the counterattacks, where the takedowns, are they still in the game? Is it working in a different way? Now we're seeing a second dodge after that, and it looks like we didn't take any damage. And, of course, he's doing a third dodge, which it just seems like the way this person plays that's doing the demo is, like, really aggressive and also really dodge happy, like just constantly rolling around like a Dark Souls game. So now Red Hood has downed him. He's going in for a takedown, and they're initiating. So this is another move that you can do. You can actually grab. There's actually grab moves here, and because they're in co-op, you can grab and hold on to the guy, and then Nightwing must have some sort of prompt on his screen so that he can move in and do a takedown here. Which this actually looks really sick. Okay, so now we're getting some XP, we're getting some resources, and then it's also insinuating here that we're level 13. So kind of a quick little side quest crime. So now Red Hood's doing his soul jumps, and Nightwing does the flying trapeze.
Now that we've prevented the regulators from stealing...
So once again, we're also seeing that even when you're on the bike and they're throwing out these bombs that are sort of acting like mines, we're seeing that red circle again, which sort of trends with the idea that these are things that you need to avoid, because they're going to deal damage with 100% certainty.
...to the regulators from stealing data, let's follow Red Hood for a bit.
So the Bat Bike looks good, it looks smooth.
The Bat Cycle is usable by all heroes in Gotham Knights. Let's watch Red Hood chase down a smuggling van in Southside neighborhood.
So you can see he was shooting the truck, and then now you're going to see a symbol here, which it seems like, okay, pistol has infinite ammo, we're seeing that there. It seems like they've gone for like a minimal HUD for this, which I worry about accessibility settings. I think they should have maybe showcased what other HUDs might look like in this game. Because I like the minimal thing because it's very cinematic. Maybe that might be a way that I prefer to play. But I worry about, for accessibility's sake, for other players that might require seeing, you know, the A button show up rather than a truck driving symbol. You know, they might need to see the actual input button. It might need to be larger than that. So, we'll see. But yeah, here's the vehicle takedown, which we've seen in previous games. And then we'll cut to a fight scene here. So once again, it seems like it's on a low difficulty because normally in the Arkham games, these guys would try to close in a little bit and not just fight you one-on-one. You would see multiple of them, you know, doing different attacks and trying to all hit you all at once. And at some point in the Arkham games, you were often having to like counterattack 2 or 3 people simultaneously, which in Arkham Knight was absolutely amazing when you had like 2 or 3 guys come at you and all throw a punch at the same time, and then you grab 2 guys, you conk their heads together, the 3rd guy comes in and you hit him with your elbow and bend him over your knee and pull his arm and break it, you know, just all sorts of cool stuff, right? But in this, it's only 4 guys here, and he rolls out of the way instead of doing counters. Then he misses a punch there. I just feel like they could have showcased better gameplay, or they could have had a better skilled player doing this, because I think that's why some of the combat looks clunky. It might look slow, and it might just look like some of the AI is just really holding back, because this guy has been like staring at the warehouse back here. He turned around. He's just been standing there looking around. He hasn't really been, you know, focused on the criminal element here. And nobody's gone for that door to try to pick it up and use it as a shield. Yeah, and the missed punches just don't look great. So now this guy's prepping a Molotov, and I guess he's about to throw it. And so it was even letting you know that the projectile zone was right here. So I feel like if this player was any good, they would have tried to roll out of it.
Red Hood can unlock the ability to attach a bomb to thrown opponents.
So this is really cool. He actually puts a bomb there, and then if you shoot it, it explodes and everybody takes damage. But we'll see later in the video, he actually puts it on a guy, but then doesn't shoot it, which just doesn't look like high quality gameplay that you would want to show us.
So he can detonate it with a shot later.
And also I should note here, they didn't even shoot the location where the bomb was. So if we go back right here, it's showing the bomb, it's lighting up here, but he ends up shooting him in the knee. And then, so I don't know if that's just kindness, or if that's easy mode, or if that's just how they programmed it. They've just said, well, as long as you hit the target, it'll detonate. So yeah, it knocks everyone back, which seems really cool. You could probably rush and try to take them down unless the explosion field knocks them out to begin with. So yeah, we can see this guy's bat's on fire, but it doesn't feel like we're seeing counterattacks.
It's a pretty good time.
See, because he hit us. So basically this player went in for a melee hit and then ended up getting hit because they didn't press the counterattack button. It just looks like very weak gameplay from someone like me who's a very seasoned veteran of having played a lot of the Batman Arkham games and really enjoying them. It seems like you could have found someone better to show off the combat here.
Pretty good time.
Or at least cut out your mistakes, edit them out. Or just go for a better cut where you don't have so many mistakes. So once again, we're seeing here what looks like a takedown. And then once again, we're getting XP, we're getting some resources, which I'll showcase this later. We're also seeing a compass here with our different various activities that are going on in the city. So a nice way to do a minimal HUD. Instead of having to do like a circular mini map showing us the streets, it's really kind of like Elden Ring, where they're just like, here's the compass, here's things you might have put markers, you know, you have some goals that you want to accomplish, and just go from there. Just leave the player to explore the city, create their own stories. Okay, so now they're picking up various things here, and we don't really know what all this is, but maybe this goes towards level ups or special abilities or crafting, healing, all that kind of stuff. We're also seeing some sort of currency building up there as well. We also see Wayne Tech in the background. And now we get to see the grapple hook, which we've seen in previous Arkham games. But yeah, seeing this form of traversal feels a lot better and looks more like you're connecting with the city itself rather than just warp jumping.
Now we're back at the Belfry, the hero's home base. This next sequence is from early in the game, as we're just discovering the Court of...
So we're also seeing like weight racks, test dummies and stuff. And then we come over here and we're seeing everybody's suits on the rack. You know, we could sort of examine them and see what they look like. And then we're seeing what looks like Barbara doing some pull-ups. And then it looks like we got Robin here at the Bat computer.
The Bat computer runs the map of the city and lets us pursue challenges and advance the story.
And so, from what we can see here, I mean, even if this isn't the entire map of the city, this looks pretty sizable. Looks pretty good. As long as it's dense and there's a lot of activities to do here, this could be a lot of fun. So we're also seeing criminal activity. We're seeing what faction it is. We're seeing, like, what level they might be. And, of course, we're able to, like, fast travel and stuff and see different markers here.
Nightwing is tracking his next story mission, investigating the old Powers.
So, Powers Club, redacted research points to a conspiracy among Gotham's elite. Learn who's involved and how far it goes. Go to the Powers Club. Difficulty is very low. Which, this is what kind of, like, they're about to showcase this level for us, but they're showing it to us on a very low difficulty, which kind of just makes me cringe a little bit. I kind of wish we were seeing this at least on some sort of medium or hard difficulty, because it seems like it's not properly showcasing this game. This game could look a lot better. But if they're over-leveled for this event, it just doesn't make sense. Also, it kind of looks like this character here, this is an odd complaint, but it kind of looks like he's A-posing, like his arms are way out, extended in kind of a weird way. His legs are really spread far apart, and he kind of just walks around like that, like he can't get his arms closer to his body. It seems really weird and very clunky, and it just seems like the animations for like running and walking are just not very great in this game so far.
Is where we go to upgrade our equipment.
Okay, so this is the workbench, and obviously we're seeing some of the materials that we were collecting when we were out fighting in the city. So we're seeing those build up. We have the map here. We have the files. We've got challenges. We've got gear. We've got abilities. We've got the database, which could be kind of our lore thing, case files, email. And then over here we have our character's level. How many AP, I guess, could be how many skill points we have to spend. We're able to craft a suit. And we're able to look through all the suits that we have, to look at our melee and ranged gear, and potentially assign stuff.
Making sure that we're...
Okay, so right here it's showing how many health packs and smoke bombs we carry. We have our loadout, crafting, mods, and our style, which also based on what they announced earlier when they revealed the deluxe edition, some of the other editions today, is that you'll be able to transmog, which if you're not familiar with what transmog is, it's basically if you like the look of this outfit, but maybe you like the perks of a different outfit, you could equip the perks of this outfit, but then have the look that you want to have. So having a style tab seems like a good idea. He's going to talk a little more about mods and how you apply those. You have little mod slots here on each of your gear pieces, and that allows you to slot in like unique perks and stuff. It's very typical in looter shooters and various RPGs of such, but I feel like this game is starting to look a lot like Avengers, with sort of the looter shooter type stuff, you know, chasing gear, chasing mods, trying to get all this, like, maximizing your damage and looking at stats and stuff.
Ready for each new challenge through the game.
Okay, so now we're seeing uncommon rarity stuff. We're seeing that it's, you know, gear that drops at a certain level, it's a certain power, it gives you certain amounts of armor and health, and then we're seeing the colors that are being applied to it, which maybe implies that you might be able to change that. We're also seeing suits that might do like toxic damage. You know, it's possible that there's maybe, you know, freeze suits that do sort of cryo damage or something, different gear.
Players find blueprints.
So now we're looking at this momentum ability suit, which obviously looks a lot different. It's legendary, level 7. grade 0 of 2, which means you probably have to upgrade it. It's showing that these things are increased stats. We're seeing the mod slots. We're seeing the colors that have been chosen. You can sort your gear by power, dismantle. You can look at your mods, look at details, compare gear, equip gear. So it looks like we're going to be spending a lot of time in menus, you know, jolling through all this stuff, which I really wish we could have just kind of a story-based game with lots of different customizable outfits, but not necessarily having to sit here and chase gear and having to unlock little mod parts that we can put into our suit, or having to go out and fight crime so that we can get crafting materials to build the suit that I want to have.
And crafting materials by taking on missions and fighting crime.
So yeah, another outfit here. You know, it's just good to see that there's a lot of different things. You may not necessarily like all the suits, or even the hairstyles that are changing here. You're seeing different hairstyles as they're sort of tabbing through all these. Let me go back. So we kind of have the long hair here.
Blueprints and crafting.
And we have short hair. Then we have like shaved on the sides right there. And then you can choose. It looks like a lot of the masks might have the wide eyes if that's your thing, and maybe some of them don't.
Each blueprint has different stats.
Yeah, these show the eyes. So if we go back right there, I don't know. There's just so much to analyze on this. And obviously we're seeing the chroma blackout here. Style year 1. That's pretty cool. And so we're seeing here that it's doing like an extra 1% elemental resistance there to toxic stuff. So I guess if you know that you're going into a mission, maybe you're going to fight Poison Ivy or something, I guess you could sort of prepare by wearing a certain costume, which, you know, could kind of go into the Batman lore with the fact that Batman seems to have a suit for every occasion. If he's fighting Mr. Freeze, he puts on the cold suit. If he's fighting Superman, he puts on heavy armor. If he's fighting Poison Ivy, you know, maybe he has a suit that's, you know, resistant to different types of plants and poison and such. Always has a trick up his sleeve, you know? And then this one's sort of a long hair ponytail, you know, just almost gives me like samurai, cyber samurai vibes here. It's even called Shinobi, so. And we're seeing the colors Iconic Alpha being applied here. So, new night suit. So yeah, it seems like they're going to do some nods to comics and various looks, and maybe come in and do some of their own creative stuff as well. We're seeing that this is of heroic rarity.
Choices for their individual strategy and style.
And now we're seeing the same thing for Red Hood.
Gear with mod slots is better because mod chips power up gameplay properties.
So now we see Red Hood is over there looking at the bike, the Bat Cycle. And then now we're going to take a look at Batman's cowl, which appears to have a bullet going through the head. It looks like some sort of like bullet damage or something is sort of created holes and indentations and damaged the mask. Because the eyes are down here and the nose is right here, so this is just showing a lot of head damage there.
At this point in the story, our characters are still processing the loss of Batman.
You could visit him.
I could what?
He went to yours when... You could visit his grave.
You haven't.
I'm not the one staring at the... You know.
Sometimes you're an idiot, Grayson.
There you go.
Players can unlock fast travel to get around the city in a hurry with the Fast Bat.
Belfry, got anything court-related?
So now, just look at this. I actually kind of love this look, but dude, the mullet, man. And I like the way this gear actually looks. It's kind of cyber looking, and it looks really advanced. It looks like something that fits in around the time of Arkham Knight. And obviously we're seeing the clock tower, the GCPD in the background.
Board of Owls, a secret society as old as Gotham itself, run the city behind closed doors, according to the old poem anyway.
I just wonder how this glider works, because it looks like every now and then it kind of pushes up and gives you more vertical height, which kind of goes against how gliders work. You know, you usually have to glide downward and then shift up and kind of, you know, you're gradually falling no matter what you do. But I guess because there's sort of jet propelled energy here, it's also going to somehow vertically propel him and allow you to just stay up in the sky more.
Okay, but how does that line up with what Penguin said?
If this all-powerful court really is out there, they might be the ones getting all those creeps out of Blackgate, which means they've been getting away with murder for centuries.
I hear you. Fingers crossed we'll learn more at the Powers Club.
Okay, so now they're going to show a little stealth sequence here.
It's time for Nightwing to sneak into court territory.
Look at the mullet, dude! I actually like it. I actually really like this outfit. I think it looks really good.
Stealth is always an advantage.
I'm in.
Be careful. Let us know if you find anything.
They have a few guards.
Long lunch too.
So we have Batgirl chiming
I'm
in.
not complaining. Nice to get a break once in a while.
So what do you think the poor bastard did?
The poor bastard. As far as I know, I just got a longer break.
Poor bastard. Wonder what that means.
A little stealth takedown. Now we're going to see like a non-stealth
Every hero
takedown.
has unique takedowns and finishing moves. Ambush strikes are faster than silent takedowns, but make more noise.
I can rummage in peace.
Augmented reality vision helps the heroes solve puzzles and investigate mysteries.
AR shows a trail of blood. I wonder what else it can see. There's something under the floor. The hatch is connected to some kind of network. There's got to be a way to open it.
Here we see Nightwing's elemental shockwave ability.
See, it's like everybody's waiting their turn to attack. So even though he's surrounded and it looks like this would be a pretty overwhelming fight, he's just ping-ponging between enemies that are just never really trying to consistently attack.
Here we see Nightwing's elemental shockwave ability. It interrupts enemy armored attacks and...
But the dodges look good, the dodges are fast, but obviously it just kind of looks like someone's just mashing the dodge and attack button the entire time, and is not really utilizing counterattacks, grabs, or any of the gadgets and stuff.
Here we see Nightwing's elemental shockwave ability. It interrupts enemy...
Which is cool, because it's cool that you're doing the dodges here, because it's sort of showcasing here where the enemy is about to fire a bullet. So you're actually able to make these dodges here with a lot of information on screen, which, you know, more advanced players might choose to turn off something like this. But I think for new players or just people that find that information helpful so that they can make decisions that not only look cool, but also, you know, provide them with more health to fight tougher bosses later on in a mission.
enemy armored attacks and deals elemental status effects.
Yeah, it just seems like no one's attaching. No one's attacking, no one's, you know, they're all just kind of running around aimlessly. So once again, the difficulty is on like very easy for this mission. We saw that when they were selecting it from the map screen. But yeah, let's watch this cryo attack here, because that's actually kind of cool.
Freezes an enemy, taking them out of the fight for a while.
Once again, very cool takedown. But yeah, very minimal HUD here. And we're seeing that they've unlocked more gadgets here. More stuff to toggle through, and hopefully it's quickly able to swap between stuff like that.
Can't be good.
The scenery looks really good. If you've ever read any of the Court of the Owls comics, some of them were even during the New 52. I read a lot of those, specifically the Batman Court of Owls comics. This scenery and the just the general look of the Court of Owls and the enemies that you're about to see here, this is definitely on par with the tone. So, I mean, this is straight out of the comics and looks really cool. It's going to be a fun mystery for us to chase here and a very difficult enemy to fight. Enemy that hides in the shadows all throughout Gotham. See, we're mostly just seeing attack patterns here. But I want to point out, there's something kind of cool here. Let me see if I can catch it. So he attacks this one. And he kind of ping-pongs over here to this one. But I think if I saw this right, he does something really cool here. He spins around, does a little cartwheel. Okay, I'm seeing that like blue blur here that comes out of nowhere. Yeah, so that's just indicating he really was. Okay, so it's just an early indication that he's throwing one of his batons. I actually think this is really cool. So he throws it, it hits the guy. And then we're seeing the stick pop up from here. So basically it just like straight up bounces off this dude. Boom, hits him, comes up. And then Nightwing freaking does a flip, comes down, he kicks it. Dude, his foot comes in, he kicks it, and it bounces off the back wall, hits the guy again, twirls up and around, and he catches it. Okay, let's watch it in full motion now. So right here. Very quick, but very cool animation. But yeah, once again, we're seeing times here where he could have counterattacked the enemy, and we're just seeing the player avoid or get hit or awkwardly attack in the wrong direction. Okay, we also saw something really cool there, which was kind of a stun. So yeah, right. So he shoots, quick fires a projectile right there, but then right here, he does like this big flash that kind of stuns the guy and knocks him back. And once again, he threw the stick at this guy. So I don't know if this is a quick fire attack that's happening, or if this is just part of the flow, like while you're pressing the attack button, is Nightwing just automatically throwing his batons at different people and such? Okay, so it looks like these guys are juicing up. They did like a jump takedown.
For anybody wondering how this fight looks with Red Hood, check this out.
Kill the intruders first, then you can think about the rewards.
So this is cool. He kind of uses his pistol. Alright, so he lands, hits the guy with his pistol, but then the pistol like bounces up off the ground, because we can see it right up here. And then he catches it. Just that kind of visual flair is going to make playing as these heroes really fun. See, he gets hit. It's okay that they're kind of showcasing what that looks like. I mean, I don't expect the developers to be perfect in their gameplay, but I mean, I just feel like a lot of this just shows inexperience and clunkiness. But the gunplay looks really fun. The fact that you can mix that in with punches and kicks is really cool. The fact that you can do this and sort of like sprint and then slide past an enemy, I probably would have slid into him and tried to knock him down. But the fact that you can choose these sort of like visual flair moments where it just looks cool that you slid past him and came up behind him and then started, you know, did a little twirl and fired some shots without looking, you know, just looks cool. So here's a takedown, and what's unique about this is he basically throws the gun at the guy, kind of like what Nightwing did earlier. So he's taking the gun in his left hand, he throws it at the guy, hits him in the face. The guy starts to fall down, he like examines his gun, you know, reloads it or whatever. Then he catches his gun in his left hand and shoots the guy. Looks really cool. Alright, so this is the Talon Gladiator, which if you've seen the comics on Court of Owls, like the Talon Gladiator is someone that really comes in and catches Batman off guard when he's examining crime scenes or exploring places looking for clues. This guy will show up out of the blue and will be a perfect counter to Batman. You know, someone who's studied him, knows his abilities, and appears to have some sort of enhanced abilities.
Takes on a Talon Gladiator here, one of the Court of Owls.
But see, once again, this fight looks like really clunky because he takes a lot of hits, he doesn't do a lot of counterattacks, and he just kind of shoots at the shield, which just seems weird.
Engineered superhuman assassins.
Which the animations, it's literally the same animation 3 times in a row. He just gets hit and he recoils backwards the same way. Until he eventually gets knocked down. Dodges look good, the melee combat looks good, you know, the occasional charge shot looks great. This animation's really solid when he actually gets knocked down by a heavy attack. Now he's obviously like set the enemy on fire or something. And then he drop kicks him. And we think he's out of the game, but then he starts sort of triggering his ability here and starts coming back to life. But now it's just the same old story, you know, we're just not seeing great gameplay here. The jump kick looked great. You know, the attacks are fun. We're obviously seeing that it's triggering some sort of damage effect here that Red Hood's doing that's causing enemies to glow like that. So that might be some sort of... Yeah, it seems like it's some sort of fire damage because the guy actually pats his arms and tries to like put out the fire. See that? And then he just kicks him. Okay, so here's the part I was talking about earlier. He's grabbing him, he's gonna put the bomb on him, and he has the perfect chance to shoot it, but the developer, whoever's playing, chose not to shoot it, which is a weird call, because it would have looked really awesome. So it's on his back, but the guy turns around, and you've missed the chance. So now you just look like an idiot. And then now he comes in with that attack, which just makes you look bad once again. But now it triggers, so it leads to the assumption I had earlier that you really just have to land a bullet on the enemy anywhere to be able to trigger the bomb that you've placed on them. Which I think it would have been more interesting if there was some sort of skill. It's like, okay, well, if you put it on his back, then that means you need to find a way to get behind him. You know, you need to dodge or slide between his legs and get behind him and then shoot it from behind. Or knock him, you know, punch him a little bit so he's stunned and then run around behind him. And now you're picking up your gear. Which I am not really interested in this game as a looter shooter, as a gear chasing game. I think a lot of that is going to rub people the wrong way, especially after Avengers, Guardians of the Galaxy. You know, they both had various things where you either have to collect little pieces to level up or get crafting materials, or you're chasing certain types of gear with perks on it, rather than focusing on great skill trees and core gameplay and awesome super heroic outfits, you know, just worrying more about transmog rather than chasing gear, giving some sort of live service aspect, even though they have firmly denied that this is not a live service game, this is not a looter shooter type game, yet we're seeing some kind of mechanics that lead us to believe otherwise.
Wherever this belongs to must be in bad shape. Better hurry.
So once again, the vibes are completely on point. The candlelit tunnels, the
That must be whoever
old caves underneath Gotham, hidden deep beneath the sewers and the subways. Is this older, darker Gotham that's been here, and the owls have taken it over. So it's obviously a trap. So there it is, and here's the big thing. They have recently canceled the release of the PS4 and Xbox One versions of the game. This is going to be a next-gen only game. And so I'm hoping that means we're going to get quite the visual boost. I hope we're going to see this running at 60 frames, 1080p. You know, maybe there's potential ray tracing. But yeah, PS5, Xbox Series X and S. We'll see it on Steam and Epic Games Store as well. This is by WB Games Montreal. I don't know, just based off some of the clunkiness of the fighting, if this game is actually going to come out October 25th. I've been seeing a lot of comments online, both on Twitter and on YouTube videos, that are suggesting that this game might need some more time in the oven. I somewhat agree, but maybe this is, you know, it's still early work in progress footage, but the game is also coming out in 5 months, so I feel like we should be seeing more solid footage of this game than what we're seeing right now, so it does seem a little weird. So I am feeling a little hesitant and a little shocked. You know, this wasn't really the amazing gameplay, mind-blowing thing I thought I was going to see, but nevertheless, I'm still excited for the game. It still looks really cool. We did see that in the PlayStation Store it says it's 4-player co-op, but that might just be a misprint, and especially with what they showed today, they only showed 2-player. That's all they've ever shown. I think if they were going to shock us with 4-player co-op, they would have announced that big and bold. I don't think they'd be hiding it. But also, I think it's near impossible to do 4-player stealth, and it would be really hard to balance combat for 4 players. So I think 2 is kind of the perfect dynamic duo. You know, you can strategize stealth opportunities, you can communicate and time things properly. When you have a larger group, it's more difficult to communicate stuff. There's often miscommunication, and someone always ends up blowing the stealth and screws it up. So that's all I have. I hope you enjoyed this video. Definitely leave us a like, subscribe to the channel, ring that notification bell. We're definitely going to be playing Gotham Knights when it does come out. Also, check out our videos of Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League. We've done some deep dives on that. We play Marvel's Avengers every week on Thursday. We run the raid. I do marketplace breakdowns on what's new in the game, and a lot of coverage of comic book content here on the channel. So stay tuned and stick with us, and we'll see you on the next one. Take care.